Shawnee, we've been very fortunate to have Hall of Famers on this show. Terrell Davis was on the show. I complained about how he ran all over my Green Bay Packers in a Super Bowl. But you and I love talking with current athletes, guys who are still in the game. And man, I'm fired up to do that on today's show with new Giants tight end Kyle Rudolph. How are you, buddy?
I am good, sir. You notice anything different this week? A little clean shaven look. I hate it. I look terrible. I look like a baby. I look like an idiot. It got me thinking.
You always look like an idiot.
Yeah, well, it got me thinking about playoff beards, right? As we work through the NHL playoffs, now we're going to wrap up basketball as well. Could you do it? Could you do a playoff beard?
I can't, man. I go 4 or 5 days and I'm itching and scratching like crazy. I can't do it. No. Plus, I also subscribe to the theory that there is a thing as too much red hair.
Yes.
I like to keep it on the top of my head, and that's really just about it. All right, we've got Giants tight end Kyle Rudolph on today's show. We're going to talk to him about what he feels Big Blue was prepared for this season. What is it about this team that drew him to the New York, New Jersey area in free agency, and a new venture of his now on the board of directors of Gen Youth. We'll talk about that organization, which is doing great things for kids around the country, along with its CEO, Alexis Glick. Let's get it going. You're watching Honorado and Bagnardi.
This is Honorado and Bagnardi, brought to you by Outfit House.
Bags, we're only a week or so away now, a little more than that, from NFL training camp starting, and I'm ready for the NFL season, quite frankly. You know I always am. The unending question is who will be playing quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, but we do know one thing. The rise of the Giants is coming with Daniel Jones and all of the receiving and offensive weapons that this organization has continued to put around their young quarterback. And Kyle Rudolph is certainly one of those guys, a veteran tight end, a two-time Pro Bowler, and he joins us on the show here today on Honorado Bagnardi. Kyle, it's good to see you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time with us. We're also joined by CEO of Gen Youth, Alexis Glick. And Alexis, it's good to see you as well. Thank you guys for taking the time. Kyle, let me start with you. I said it to Shawnee in the open there. What was it about this Giants team, organization, and the situation overall that you felt like, you know what, this is the right spot for me?
Well, I think for me, where I'm at in my career, having spent 10 years here in Minnesota, it took a first-class organization for me to commit to, and that's exactly what the Giants are. From the top down, the Maras and the Tisch, their families are incredible. The way they lead this organization, it's a championship pedigree. Every day you walk in that building, you see the 4 Lombardi trophies, and that's what it's about when you're a New York Giant. You want to win a championship, and at this point in my career, that's the only thing left for me. That's all I want to do is win a championship.
So how about on the field then? What excites you most about this team, about this roster, playing with Daniel Jones and the rest of the guys?
Well, I think if you go back and look at a team last year, that was one game away from being in the playoffs. You can look at a record that's 6-10, but I compare it to a Vikings team that was in transition back after our first year with Mike Zimmer. We were 7-9, and you could go back and look at 3 or 4 games that we had no business losing. And that's exactly what I saw when I studied this team. Yeah, they were 6-10, but there were 3 or 4 games where, it was just a young team that didn't know how to win yet. And I really see the culture changing in the building. I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of a reason why this team gets back to where it's accustomed to being and living up to a standard of being a New York Giant.
Here's a question you're already tired of. I know it. And look, as a professional athlete, I'm sure you're tired of most media questions, but I'll ask it anyway. You see at the bottom of the screen here how healthy you've been in your career. How are you now? I know you said I won't miss any football. I saw you playing golf. How are you feeling now?
I feel good. That's pretty much what I do most of July anyways, is get on the golf course and try to enjoy some downtime before we ramp up next week. So Like I said earlier, I was extremely fortunate that the Giants' incredible medical staff were able to, help fix my problem from the season before and help address it. And looking forward to being back on the field.
What do you envision your role being this season, and what would you say to Giants fans as far as what they can expect from you out on the field?
My role is to come into this team, come into a locker room that has a lot of young players. And, just like I talked about it, I've gone through this transition before. I've been a part of a team that kind of struggled to not beat themselves, to stay out of our own way, if you would. I see myself as a veteran presence in this locker room that these young guys can lean on anytime they have questions on or off the field. I'm happy to be that presence in the locker room. And then, on Sundays in MetLife or wherever else we're playing, they're going to get my best each and every Sunday, no matter what that is. If it's catching passes, third down, red zone, first down, or run blocking for Saquon, trying to protect Daniel in the pass game. I think that's one of the things that over the last 10 years I've tried to really focus on as a tight end. Of course, to the media and to fans, you only play well if you scored a lot of fantasy points, but that's not always the case. Whatever my role is that week, whatever I'm asked to do that week, just doing it at a high level.
Bags and I don't do fantasy sports, do we, Shawnee?
No, it's something that a lot of sports fans do. I feel like they're almost synonymous, but we're not into it.
Yeah.
Not root really for our team to win. I don't want to be rooting. I don't want to have a guy who's on my fantasy team. I need him to score points. He's going against my team this week.
I can't do it either. I'm too conflicted. I can't do it. I'm a one-track brain kind of person. Kyle, you are not. You've got a lot going on. And let's bring in the CEO of Gen Youth here, Alexis Glick, to talk with us, too, about what you have jumped into here, Kyle. Why was this important to you? The encouragement of kids through a healthy lifestyle of both nutrition and exercise. You're now on the board of directors at Gen Youth. When did you hear about the organization? Why was this something that you felt like, I need to be really involved?
Well, so I met Alexis years ago at the Super Bowl in Houston, actually. And it was at an event that was based around food and dairy and the importance of it. And, from that point on, she's been absolutely incredible. And every opportunity I've had to work with her and to work with Gen Youth, I've seen firsthand how incredible she is with the kids in the schools. And for me, and, everything that we've done in Minnesota over the last 10 years has been around kids. And that's exactly what Gen Youth stands for. It's about kids, and it's about providing them with, equal opportunities in school that I oftentimes took for granted. I never had to worry about going to school and having a hot meal, or, coming home after school and having a meal. And that's not always the case. And certainly the last 14 to 16 months has really shined a spotlight on food insecure kids and families. And, really it's just been every opportunity that I've had over the last 6-7 years to work with Alexis and to work with Gen Youth. I've just been blown away by their impact and the way that they're able to affect these kids' lives. So pretty much anything that has to do with kids, I'm all for it. And I just love the work they do. So it was a perfect fit for me.
Alexis, tell us how important it is to have role models like Kyle and some of the others who you work with, and I guess how much easier that makes your jobs in terms of connecting with America's youth.
Absolutely. I mean, Kyle, I feel like we've been so blessed that Kyle and I have literally from day one hit it off, but it's what Kyle and Jordan represent as a family off the field that truly is what makes him that Walter Payton Man of the Year finalist year after year after year. And for us, our program, our work is about creating healthier school communities. And we do that in upwards of 75,000 U.S. public schools through a program that I think most of you are probably familiar with, Fuel Up to Play 60. And so for us, what we see is kids every day struggling, whether it's food insecurity, lack of access to physical activity, or just those role models meals in the community that uplift students. And it's people like Kyle. He is such a tireless worker. He is such a champion of kids. And for us at Gen U, the opportunity to bring him onto the board. Now, see, he didn't tell you that part of the reason he came to the New York Giants is because I'm in New York and I've been trying to lure his family here for years. We won't tell the Wilfs that. But now we got him. And the minute he came to New York, I said, now's the time. You're coming on the board. So I just think he's going to do wonders for the students. He's going to do wonders for us programmatically. And we feel so honored and blessed to have him with us.
Alexis, Kyle mentioned it. What was the challenge like for an organization that wanted to promote healthy meals and lifestyles amongst kids when those kids are really no longer going to school?
Well, I'll tell you, I got off the phone last night with the second largest school district in America, and we had a conversation about what they did through COVID. They provided 140 million meals to food insecure kids and families. And what I have learned about this process over the last 15 months that I remind people daily is that, listen, there's 50 plus million kids in our school system. Over 30 million of them a day require the school building to get access to the meals that fuel their bodies every single day. That existed prior to the pandemic. Now things are much worse. And so not only have we been in the business of helping schools provide the emergency delivery of meals, but as school returns back in the next 4 weeks, I just want to remind folks, it's not over. It's far from over. We still need to be in the business of helping school buildings get those meals critically to kids, both in the school building and out, because many families are still addressing concerns about whether or not their kids can be in the school building. I have seen communities step up. I've seen the private sector step up, and I've seen folks like Kyle, NFL stars, athletes, teams step up in profound ways. The true thing about all of this is we need to work together. 1 + 1 + 1 is far greater than 3. No one of us can do it alone.
Alexa, I'm curious, do you find that a lot of people are surprised when they find out maybe just how great the need actually is? And do you feel like sometimes it's difficult because the people who really need to make a difference are probably not aware because they're not necessarily in those communities where people are struggling most?
I'll tell you something, right in your backyard, you don't realize it, but literally within about a 5-mile radius, you have school buildings that have a high percentage free and reduced, 75% plus free and reduced population of kids. Yes. The answer is, do I find it frustrating at times? Absolutely. I spent a majority of COVID on the airwaves reminding folks of the degree of need in our local communities. But I also fault ourselves. A lot of folks don't realize that kids, when they step into the school building, some kids have lunch at 10 a.m., some kids have lunch at 2 p.m. But if you're a food insecure kid, which, it hit as many as 1 in 3 kids in America at the peak of COVID, it has come back slightly because of things like universal meal distribution and SNAP grants. But the reality is, in our own backyards in America, the degree of food insecurity among our nation's youth is one of the highest in American history. And so what we need to do is remind folks that for kids who are food insecure, if your only meal is lunch, and that accounts for 50% of your daily caloric intake, we've got to make sure we build awareness and we get more resources into the school building to get the equipment they need to provide those meals. And that's what we're doing at Gen Youth. It's all about ending student hunger.
Kyle, how many meals a day does an NFL player consume?
I'd say most of the time it's at least 6, and that's 3 meals, 3 snacks. I think Alexis hit the nail on the head when she was talking about, the timing of lunch and, getting 50% of your caloric intake from one meal. As a professional athlete, that's not something I could ever do. And even as a kid, it was something that I took for granted. And, you guys brought up the point that, most people just aren't aware. And for me, even it was the same way until I got started with Gen Youth and started working with, the Taste of the NFL. And I'm doing an event with the Taste of the Tour and the PGA Tour here on Monday for our 3M Open in Minneapolis. And it wasn't until I got involved in these organizations that I realized there are food insecure people right in my backyard. And being food insecure doesn't mean, you're homeless, you have no idea where your next meal. I think that's the perception that most people have. And, unless you see somebody sitting on the off-ramp on the highway with a sign that says they need money for food, that's the only food insecure people in our country. And it's not the case. There's all kinds of people that just, maybe it's a day, maybe it's a week. They just can't quite make ends meet that week. And, they need a little bit of help. And I think once I realized that, I was astonished at the fact that we live in the greatest country in the world and one of the most powerful countries in the world, yet, we can't seem to feed everyone in our country. And it just doesn't make sense to me that, there's no reason why this country should have hungry people in it.
And guys, I would just say, one thing is, listen, I'm a mom of 4 kids. Kyle and Jordan have 3 kids, and I don't know about the 2 of you, but I can tell you right now, the degree to which our kids are suffering is extraordinary. You've had a distance learning scenario. Many kids have wound up food insecure in a way that they never expected their families to ever face food insecurity. You have had a lack of access to physical activity. Kids, sports as we know it completely shifted through this school year. I mean, the degree to which we have both a mental, a socio-emotional health crisis is extraordinary. So as kids enter back into the school building in August and we kind of get back to work as we know it, we got to remember that the degree of support that our school buildings, our educators, our school nutrition professionals, we talk about the frontline workers, the healthcare workers, but the frontline workers feeding our nation's kids, ensuring that our kids get educated, that they have a full belly to learn, are the people in the school building. And so I think one of the things I would say to you guys is one big piece of this is we've got to address food insecurity. But the other piece is we've got to support our school buildings, our educators, our frontline workers taking care of our nation's kids.
I come from a family of teachers, so amen to that. Bags, I went digging around the house this morning. I don't know who really even keeps cash on them anymore, but I found $52. So us here at Honorado and Bagnardi, we're a low budget show, but if Kyle can answer 5 questions about himself, we'll double that number. Now, I don't know that matters to Gen Youth, but we'll at least double that number and we will send it to Gen Youth. So let's find out how well Kyle knows himself. This will be a lot of fun. And Kyle, just to warn you, at the NBC station here, which we are in Albany, New York. Of course, the Giants trained in Albany for 16 summers. We come down to training camp every summer. So depending upon how this goes, feel free to punch me and Sean in the face when you see us this summer. All right, here we go. The first question: what quarterback threw the pass for your first career NFL TD?
My first career touchdown was from Christian Ponder.
Bingo. Got it. That was in 2011 against the Raiders, a 1-yard score from Ponder. You're up, Bags.
Correct.
All right, that was an easy one, Chris. How about this one? You have 1 career fumble lost. Pretty good. What team did it come against?
It was the Bears, and it was this year. 10 years into my career, I lost my first fumble.
137 games. 137 games. Of course it would happen on Monday Night Football, though. My goodness. All right. What is the Minnesota Vikings record for most catches by a tight end in a single season? You know that you have it. What's the number?
The number is 83.
All right. He's 3 for 3.
Yeah, we're going to have to come up with some money here pretty soon, Chris. The New York Giants.
3/5 of the way home, you guys.
Who holds the New York Giants record for most receptions by a tight end in a single season?
Now,
there's so many good ones.
We can give you a hint. He's got some artwork on his arm like you do, and more than that.
And so that was going to be my guess, as these questions associate with me, and I'm wearing his number. I'm wearing his number because of the impact that he had on the field for the New York Giants and Jeremy Shockey. So I appreciate the help. I guess if this was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I've lost a lifeline in phoning a friend.
Right. There you go. Yeah. Only 2 lifelines to go. I don't think you're going to need it. You're 4 for 4. Name another current NFL player to graduate from your high school.
So this is a tricky one because, at one point we had 5 guys as elder graduates in the NFL, and now we're down to just one other, and it's Jake Mcquaid. He is the long snapper for the Dallas Cowboys.
Bingo. Man, 5 for 5. That's impressive stuff, man. Well done. All right, Shawnee, you cough up your half, and I got mine ready to go here too. Guys, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for taking the time with us here in Albany. Kyle, we hope to see you at training camp this summer in what hopes to be a more normal type of NFL season. Alexis, Kyle, thank you guys so much. Continued success with this great organization. And anybody who's interested in learning more, go to genyouthnow.org. You can read more about the organization. You can make a donation there as well. Take care, guys. Have a great rest of the summer.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Alexis Glick and Kyle Rudolph with us here on Honorado and Bagnardi. Shawnee, 5 for 5, man.
Well, what do you expect? Come on. What did you expect? No, that was great. And listen, man, I'll admit I didn't realize how great the need was. We do stories on it, right?
Yeah.
At the TV station about food insecurity, and it gets kind of thrown around as like a buzzword, and you don't really necessarily know what that means until you take a closer look at it. And the need is great, and like Kyle said, it's not necessarily just the person you might see who's on the off ramp, like he said. It's a need that affects so many communities, which is really a shame and shouldn't be that way. So a good organization to support if you're looking to support one and help out.
Yeah, and obviously there are plenty of local organizations as well in the 518 who do the grassroots stuff right here in the capital region to make sure that that kids and families don't go hungry even through something like a pandemic. Cool to talk with Kyle. Excited to see what he does on the field, his 2-year contract with the New York Giants. And we said it, this is a team that is trying to give Daniel Jones as much of a chance as possible, right? When you sign guys like Rudolph and Kenny Golladay, knowing that Saquon Barkley is going to come back, we hope healthy and as good as ever. That's a big deal. This feels like a big year for Jones. We keep saying it.
Yeah, and for me, Saquon is the guy. All the weapons you want to give him to throw to, Daniel Jones to throw to and whatnot. But if that running game gets going, that changes things in a big way for him.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, when we come back here on Honorado and Bagnardi, Pete Alonso was the man again at All-Star weekend, whatever, with the home run derby. I mean, what a show he put on, and he had a lot of fun doing it. But it's what he said after the home run derby that really caught my attention. Is he the best power hitter on the planet, as he said he felt he was? And a couple of different quotes from a couple of different pitchers that makes me believe this idea of guys throwing back-to-back days, throwing more than 100 pitches, is 100% mental. That's next on Honorado and Bagnardi.
Happiness is found in simple things. The sun on your face, sharing laughs, at the campground, getting wet, relaxing together, the love of family. There's never been a better time to go outside and play. Alpenhaus Pool Spa Boat and RV, bringing families together and creating memories since 1964.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through product and purpose. Claim your crown.
And now, back to Honorado and Bagnardi. Brought to you by Alpenhaus.
All right, Shawnee, I'm sure you enjoyed Monday night's performance. Pete Alonso defending his home run derby title, man. First, just quick, give me your thoughts on what number 20 was able to do, man, on a big stage.
Well, this felt like vindication to some degree because 2 years ago he won, but really he just sort of played the best, because really, who was it? Guerrero, who just went nuts and he hit all kinds of home runs, and then Alonso was just sort of there at the end, did enough to get through, and then just happened to beat him in that last round. Part of it, I guess, is a strategy. You don't want to overextend yourself in the early round because then you might lose. But no, Pete was amazing in the first round, and I was starting to think, it's going to happen to him now this year. He's going to go crazy early and then fall off late and maybe get beat in that final round. And, of course, it didn't happen. So for me, it just felt like vindication that this one he really deserved it, really earned it. He was clearly the guy at the end of this. You watch was like, that guy had the best performance. That wasn't the case 2 years ago when he won it. But look, that was awesome. As a Mets fan, it's just nice to see your guy up there doing it. It's like if your guy wins the 3-point shootout, there's just an extra level of excitement because it's your guy. I'm not traditionally a big home run derby fan. It's batting practice, man. It's batting practice. It's not exciting for me if you hit a 500-foot shot in batting practice, it's impressive, but it's not as impressive to me as any kind of home run in a regular game. I mean, to me, I'd rather hit a home run in the All-Star game than win the home run derby.
Okay, fine. But you've got a packed stadium. You have a national audience. This isn't batting practice. There's real pressure, and guys are swinging for the fences. They get tired. They do multiple rounds of it's not even in a cage. It's getting into the batter's box. I think this is a really impressive feat for guys to be able to hit as many home runs in the short amount of time that they're given. It is 1,000% better than the NBA dunk contest. And for one reason only. Because the stars participate in the home run derby. Pete Alonso came
out. That's a better comparison.
Okay, fine. But it doesn't have the same, just a home run is like a dunk. It's not like a 3.
But it is you're right. But it is in a way, though, because, when you're racking up the home runs one after the other and you have a target number of the guy before you, that's very similar to the 3-point shootout.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. The format. Yes. You're right. That's true. I'll buy that. You know what we need is we need a money ball in the home run derby.
Now you're talking.
We need a money ball.
Home run derby. Baseball is about the pitcher trying to get you out. The home run derby, the pitcher is trying to help you. So it's just not that exciting to me. A home run is you beating somebody at something. And that's not the case in a batting practice style home run. I think that's just where it kind of loses some of that gusto for me.
Great story in the home run derby was Trey Mancini. And Nick says, yeah, my guy Mancini crushed. What a great derby by all. And yeah, it was great to have that storyline. It was phenomenal, of course, to have the storyline of Shohei Ohtani, who participated in the home run derby, did pretty darn well. Then started the game and hit leadoff for the American League. He did absolutely everything. This is what really drew my attention, though, Shawnee, after the home run derby. And it was Pete Alonso who called himself the best power hitter on the planet. Look at the numbers. He's only the third guy ever to go back-to-back in the home run derby. Griffey and Cespedes. He's got the most home run derbies all time already. He's only been in 2 of them. He has 86 career home runs. At 26 years old, he's on the fast track to catching Darryl Strawberry's number of 252. And of course, he owns the rookie home run record. All of that together, looking at his resume in its entirety, is Pete right? Is he the best power hitter on the planet?
Okay. What do we most associate with power? The home runs, obviously, right? As I look at, very quickly pull up a list of Major League Baseball's home run leaders, I have to scroll down pretty far here to get to Pete Alonso, tied for 31st with 17 in Major League Baseball. Can a guy, the best power hitter in the game, be tied for 31st in home runs at the All-Star break? He's got 17 of them. I'm going to say no. He's not even close to the best power hitter. He can win the home run derby. He might be the guy who you would say, especially now after seeing it back-to-back times, who you would favor in a competition like the home run derby. He's a big, strong guy. There's no question about that. He might be one of the strongest players in baseball. He's nowhere near the best power hitter on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, it may be, that's not a bad power hitter right there, Mike Trout, but it might be Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for as young as he is.
Well, I don't have to go as far down on the list. He's second right now with 28, only behind Ohtani. So.
Yeah, and Fernando Tatis Jr., who's another absolutely young star in this game. There he is. He's got 28 of them as well at the All-Star break.
Yep.
Yeah. So it may be the two younger guys on that list that we may say are just kind of the better power hitters. Pete has that raw, like you said, he may be the strongest guy or one of the strongest guys anyway. He's got that raw power, right? That scouts salivate over because they feel like we can really develop him into a better hitter. He's got all the power he needs now. That's one of the tools. Let's make him a more complete hitter.
But that's the key too. He's just not a good enough hitter to be the best blank hitter, right? Like to be a good particular kind of hitter, you have to be a really good hitter overall too. And I think he falls short in that. I mean, I don't trust him necessarily in big spots. And I don't trust him to be a guy who's going to drive in a ton of runs for us or get that big RBI. He might get you that big 2-run home run here and there. But even then, 17 at the All-Star break, it's good. It's not blowing me away.
Nelly Cruz, north of age 40, is still certainly one of the best power hitters on the planet. I think the Yankees would echo everything, Bags, you just said about Pete Alonso. Is that as impressive as the home runs are in terms of length and exit velocity and all that stuff from guys like Judge and Stanton, do we trust them in a big spot to come up and hit a home run there? And I think a lot of Yankees fans would say, no, based on the body of work, we don't trust them to do something like that.
One final point on this for me, though. What I like about it is that he thinks he is, or that he is confident enough to say he is. I'm okay with that. You should want to be the best. I mean, I guess I'd rather hear him say, I could be the best power hitter. I want to be the best power hitter. I'm going to be the best power hitter because, again, I don't think he's there yet. And I'll say yet very optimistically as though he potentially could be, even though I don't believe it. But I do like the confidence out of him. I liked kind of the swagger at the home run derby. I don't think that was him being egotistical more than was trying to fire himself up. And I genuinely think he was enjoying himself, which is what you want to see in particular at an all-star kind of event like a home run derby. So I like Pete's mentality. I like him as a face of the Mets franchise. I like him as kind of a vocal leader for this team. I don't like him as the best power hitter in baseball.
We've got another Mets face to show you here in a second. But you and I have talked a lot about the way pitchers are handled. And is it the front offices, have they created the problem? Is it the players themselves? What is going on here? Why do front offices feel like we don't trust our starting pitcher a third time through the opposing lineup, right? Guys get pulled all the time in the fifth or sixth inning because managers don't want to see them face the lineup for a third time through. Why do we look at 100 pitches now feels like it's way over the top? Anybody gets close to 90, it's like, okay, he's probably done here really soon. And then it's kind of the mentality of how many times can we use a reliever within a given week? Can they go back-to-back days? Do we have to look at the number of pitches they threw on Thursday to determine whether or not they're going to be good enough to go on Friday? There were two quotes in the last week, okay, on Sunday, the last day of the first half, that jumped out at me. And it told me we've been right all along that this is a mentality issue, and it unfortunately, Shawnee, has bled into the players' minds. Garrett Cole threw 129 pitches. Okay, that's more than any pitcher in baseball this year. That was on Saturday night. He struck out 12. Yankees won in Houston 1-0. Look at the quote. We already blew past the workload algorithm in the 7th. Okay, so going into the game, he and Aaron Boone already have a number in mind. Stress pitches, high leverage pitches, number of pitches. Cole says they already blew past that in the 7th inning. So he says when you get deeper and deeper into these things, it's tight. Like this, there's just a natural reaction to the adrenaline that just comes with the moment. And that is what led to him striking out 12 guys, still throwing 99 miles an hour in the bottom of the 9th inning, striking out, getting Yordan Alvarez to end the game in what was a 1-0 shutout. And then on Sunday, you had Edwin Diaz, the closer of your Mets, say, I was a little tired. I threw yesterday. Now, by yesterday, Diaz means a Saturday game in which, Shawnee, he threw 10 pitches, struck out the side against the Pirates, got the save, and then when asked about his Sunday performance post-game, this was his quote, I was a little bit tired. I threw yesterday. Stark difference, man.
I'll start with Diaz. This is Ed Luz Diaz right here when you make a comment like this. First of all, I don't want to hear an athlete ever say, I was a little bit tired. Because what that sounds like, even if it's true, is an excuse. And it wasn't true in this case because, as you said, he only threw 10 pitches. So it definitely was an excuse. Just shut up, Diaz. You're finally having a season where I can say maybe this guy should be on this team for a little bit longer. Haven't said that about him much in his career with the Mets. As you know, Ed Luz Diaz. There's a reason I called him that for a long time. I've been avoiding that this year. You make a comment like that, man, you're right back there. Now, as far as Cole, Mr. Sticky stuff here, the workload algorithm, give me a break. What are we talking about? A pitch count? We're talking about one number probably, how many pitches you threw. What's the algorithm? Give me. What's the formula that they use, Chris?
I can't answer that specifically, but here's my best educated guess. Okay.
Yeah.
My guess is that there is a charting of pitches that goes on in the dugout during every game, and it isn't just pitch count. Like, hey, we can't let him throw more than 110 pitches. I would bet you there is somebody charting, like I said, stress pitches, high leverage pitches. How many pitches has Cole thrown tonight with a runner at second base?
Yeah.
How many times has he pitched out of the stretch? How many times has he gone to a 3-2 count? How many?
About all this? It's bullcrap. That's what all that is. You can shove that algorithm right up Boone. Yeah. No, I don't care about your stupid workload algorithm. Okay. And yeah, of course, there should be adrenaline that comes late in a close game or whatever. So, yes, that mentality is fine. But similar to Diaz, just for a different reason, Cole's a guy I don't want to hear from. I don't want to hear anything from this guy. His ERA went sky high once he stopped using the sticky stuff. He had one good game. Just shut up. I don't want to hear about your algorithms. I don't want to hear about the adrenaline getting you through a late game scenario when it should get you through. Both these guys just need to shut up and go play baseball, not make excuses.
I also think maybe the media is partly to blame here, only because Chad Green, after the Yankees lost Sunday's game to the Astros, a walk-off homer by Altuve. By the way, that rivalry is getting so good. That is taking on – Yankees-Red Sox is no more. It's Yankees-Astros now. They have played important postseason games that has really fueled the fire. Anyway, the media asked Chad Green, who blew the save on Sunday, if the fact that he threw 26 pitches 2 days prior was a reason for him not being as effective. So not only are front offices putting it in players' minds, we, the media, are putting it in players' minds that because they've thrown yesterday or because they threw 26 pitches 2 days ago, that they shouldn't be as effective as they, as they should be. Shouldn't be as effective as they should.
Baseball is an everyday sport. Okay, I understand that doesn't mean that pitchers can go every single day, but my goodness.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You did your job the day before, so you can't do it today. I mean, really? Come on. A lot of people do it. A lot of people are able to go out and pitch on back-to-back days, right? A lot of relievers have that success, and then you never hear about it. But when a guy pitches the day before, then goes out there and has a bad game, now we got to enough with your algorithms. Enough. Go play baseball. Jeez.
Speaking of baseball and the Yankees, the Burnt Hills Boston Lake 9U SummerSlam welcomes Charlie Hayes this year. Bags, you said last week that is the Charlie Hayes moment when I said that it's my Charlie Hayes moment. Of course, he caught the final out of the 1996 World Series. You've got an opportunity to meet the former Yankees third baseman July 24th at Indian Meadows Park from 2 until 4. You see it at the top. Free admission to meet Charlie Hayes, take a picture, get an autograph, hang out with a former big leaguer, dad of a current big leaguer who's going to be an absolute stud in Brian Hayes. Go check out Charlie Hayes. That's, again, July 24th from 2 until 4 at Indian Meadows Park. All right, when we come back here on Honorado and Bagnardi, we talked with Kyle Rudolph of the Giants. Training camps for the NFL are right around the corner. And there's nothing I like more than lists. I was watching a sports talk show this week that said, we don't ever really do lists, but we're paying attention to this particular list. I love lists. When you're out with your buddies, when you're having a drink, what do you talk about? Hey, is this guy a top 5 player? Is this guy a top 5 quarterback? We create lists. So anybody who says you don't like lists, you're wrong. You do it all the time. You rank players all the time. And we're going to do that next year on Honorado and Bagnardi, reacting to a very controversial top 10 quarterback list. That's next. Hang on.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, Genair, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
Nutrition is 80% of a healthy lifestyle. With 4 locations in the 518, Bold has you covered. Delicious? I think that's a yes. It's never been easier or more affordable to eat healthy. Salads with 17 dressings to choose from. Acai bowls with unlimited toppings. Power grain bowls, oatmeals, smoothies, artisan toasts, and Belgian waffles. Live Bold 7 days a week. At work, home, or on the go. Dine in, grab and go, pick up or delivery. Live Bold, eat bold.
And now, back to Honorado and Bagnardi. Brought to you by Alpen House.
All right, Bags, I said it. I love lists. I love the NFL. I love debating what player belongs where. Who would I take over somebody else? We had a conversation in the newsroom after Game 2 of the NBA Finals, which, by the way, we'll talk about, as to whether or not Giannis Antetokounmpo is a top 5 player. I reacted stupidly to what I saw in Games 1 and 2, and I thought, I don't know. Wouldn't you find 5 other guys who could shoot from the outside, shoot free throws that you would take before Giannis? Then I watched Games 3 and 4, and I thought, Honorado, sometimes you just need to shut up. But I'm not going to do that here because we've got 2 top 10 quarterback lists out. I want you to pay attention more closely here to start to the one Chris Sims released at the end of June. Mahomes, Allen, Rodgers, 1, 2, 3. We can debate that in a second if you want. But go all the way down to number 10. And that is where you find the defending Super Bowl champ, Tom Brady. Sims's justification for this, Bags, is, hey, this is how I rank them if they were to be surrounded by an average cast of players on offense, not necessarily the Buccaneers offense. So Sims is kind of saying, if I were just drafting a team,
right,
Brady would be the 10th quarterback off the board for me. Interesting.
Yeah, I can't put him that low. I mean, I understand that mentality. Okay, so number 1 makes sense, right?
Yep.
I think Aaron Rodgers still has to be second. So you mean to tell me if you're surrounding guys with just an average team that you'd rather have Allen than an Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
So that logic doesn't really make sense there for Sims. I think that, to me, Brady Brady's the kind of guy who he'll just do it with anybody. He'll figure out whatever he needs to do to win, and that sort of intangible quality about him, for me, puts him higher up. I can't put him ahead of Mahomes or Rodgers at this point, but I'm with Orlovsky's list here as far as really one through 6. I think I like. Really 1 through 7. I'm maybe not as high on Stafford, but I think Orlovsky's list here is far better, and I'm sure you agree with me, right?
Yes, 100%. And Sims and Orlovsky both have Stafford at 8. Orlovsky did play with Matthew Stafford in Detroit for a number of years. Here's what I find interesting about the list overall, just on the surface, okay? There are not that many guys, 1 through 10, where if I get past 5, I'll throw it back up here in a second just so we have it for reference point. After you get past 6, okay, how many of these guys are you confident, Bags, going into a playoff game with, right? We haven't seen Lamar Jackson do it yet. Haven't seen Stafford do it. Tannehill's been effective in the playoffs because of Derrick Henry, a lot of people would say. I don't think that's unfair. We haven't seen Dak do it. So after 6, it's hard to make an argument for anybody else on this list, me saying like, yes, I am good. This is my quarterback. I'm good. Take me into the season. We're going to win multiple playoff games.
Yeah, and I'd still put Russell Wilson ahead of Deshaun Watson too. Ooh. I think that's an area where, if you look at that, they both have him lower, and I would have him ahead of Watson. What do you think about number 1, though? I mean, you wouldn't put Rodgers number 1 on any board?
He is the defending MVP, or the reigning MVP, right? I mean, arguably had his best season last year with the Packers. But Mahomes just wows you in so many ways that you almost have to put him at the top of the list. And he's been to the Super Bowl back-to-back years. Let's not forget that. Like, the stats with Rodgers are phenomenal. But he hasn't been to the Super Bowl since 2011, Bags. He's, 1-4, 1-5 in NFC Championship games. You know, Mahomes gets to an AFC title game, he wins. He's 2-1 there.
Really good team. You put Aaron Rodgers on that team, and they're beating Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, probably.
I don't know. That offensive – well, look, Mahomes was banged up. The offensive line was so bad for Kansas City. It's hard to say.
So are you telling me then that you would – okay, fine. Maybe that's not true. But are you telling me you'd rather have Mahomes in a big playoff game than Rodgers today?
No.
Right.
No. And
so don't then just throw back the playoff success as being sort of like the reason why it's just automatic he's got to be ahead of him. Because I still think in a big playoff spot, I would want Rodgers.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people watching who would disagree based on the playoff record.
Fair enough.
And it's hard for me to really push back on that. By the way, Rodgers played in a pro-am, and he said he was going to enjoy that week. Okay, we're past it now. He was going to enjoy that week and then kind of figure things out from there.
You were on pins and needles with this every day.
I watch things incessantly. I read things incessantly. I listen to things incessantly. People's opinions about what is going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. Most recent thing I heard on a national level was they think he's back with Green Bay, but that he may sit out a week or two. That this may not come easily. What do you think? What's your read here? Middle of July. Okay, training camp's around the corner. Is he showing up on July 27th? Will Aaron Rodgers be at Packers training camp day 1, July 27th?
No, maybe not. But I'm going to say when we get going and start playing for real, he's on the field and having a big impact.
How have they gotten him there? Have they given him more guaranteed money? Is there a contract extension? Have they traded Jordan Love? How have they repaired this situation?
I don't know. I don't know how it'll come, but I think even if it isn't repaired or fully repaired, he still goes out there and does his job when the season starts. Before
so we could have like two divorced people living in the same household and hoping that it just works out somehow.
Yeah, you put the tape down the floor. You get this half of the house. I'll take the upstairs bathroom. You take downstairs. It's messy, but winning sort of heals everything. And if he is in a Packers uniform when we kick off this season, and they do have early success, this could very well take a backseat. We need football. We need football to be being played, and for him to be successful on this team, and then that will kind of heal all of the wounds somewhat naturally, at least enough to get through the season.
I got an NFL note for you that will make you happy. Okay. The Washington football team plans to have a team name, mascot, nickname by 2022.
By opening day?
Oh. No, by 2022.
Oh, yeah. Why? What's taking so long? What is taking so long?
A lot of research.
Why? Maybe whatever you pick isn't like racist or offensive, or is that the plan? Is that why you need to research it that much? I mean,
that would be nice. That would be nice.
The name. But I'm saying you shouldn't need to do extensive research to know that it isn't offensive. Just pick a name that's not offensive. Go.
Yeah, I don't.
The Washington Monuments.
Are you kidding me? Can you imagine touchdown monuments?
It's no better or worse than half the names out there when you think about them.
I guess.
Look at basketball. We have the Thunder. We have the Pelicans.
That one's not great. But there's nothing wrong with the Thunder.
What's the difference between a Pelican or a hawk or the falcon or another kind of bird? A cardinal.
The hawk and the cardinal's soft, but the falcon and the hawk, man, those are predatory birds.
How about the Washington Flamingos?
Would you shut up? Carol asked us, she hasn't had a chance to catch up. How's the NBA Finals going? Here's how it's going. Who has the advantage now, Shawnee? After Game 4, we've got a tied series. I'll admit I didn't see this coming. I picked Phoenix in 5, so obviously I was wrong. But they're tied at 2 games apiece.
Yep.
Who do you like now, Phoenix or Milwaukee?
The home team has won each of the first 4 games, so I'll say the advantage goes to the team with home advantage, and that is, of course, Phoenix. I expect them to go home and win Game 5. I picked them to win in 6, to win on the road, and I still think they can get that done. Last night's game was certainly in the balance heading into the final, really minute and a half or so. Yeah. And listen, Phoenix, they looked really good at home. Milwaukee looked good at home, good enough to win, but not as overwhelmingly good as Phoenix did. So I'll take Phoenix in Game 5. I'll stick with my pick for Game 6. But even if they lose, then you really have to still favor Phoenix in Game 7, as long as both teams, of course, stay healthy.
Chris Paul with a couple of bad possessions late in the game. The difference has been Paul and Booker's inconsistency in this series in the road games. Paul had 10 points on Wednesday night in Game 4. Booker only had 10 points Sunday night in Game 3 of what was really a blowout, so he was pulled out of that game early, but they never got it close enough for Monty Williams to say, all right, let's get the star back in there to see if we can really close the gap all the way. You're right. I mean, these have looked like 2 different teams, home and away. DeAndre Ayton didn't do much in Game 4 either. Here's a stat for you, a couple of them now. Now that the series is tied at 2-2, in NBA Finals history, the winner of Game 5 in a situation like this goes on to win the series 72% of the time. You'd expect that being up 3-2, good chance you're then going to finish things off and win the series. But when a team is up 2-0, Bags, which Phoenix no longer is, when a team is up 2-0, only 4 teams have come back from an 0-2 deficit. The Cavs did it against the Warriors, and the Heat, first time around, D-Wade, Shaq did it against the Mavericks. So that's 2 teams in the last 15 years pulled it off. Milwaukee's got a shot here to do the same.
You know what all of that prior history means for this series?
You say nothing. I know you hate history. You don't believe it means anything in the scope of anything in sports, planet Earth, nothing. You don't want to hear about any history, pretending like it may show us something in the future. Don't you believe that history repeats itself?
Look, here's the problem. 72%. Okay. Well, that still leaves 28%. That's a pretty good percentage. So it doesn't tell us anything. We don't know if it's going to come to fruition, that the 3 quarters, which normally comes through, is going to come through this time, right? So if Phoenix wins, you're going to say Milwaukee's dead because of the history. No. And if Milwaukee wins, I still think you would say, okay, yeah, they're certainly favored now going home with a chance to close it out. But that's just a 1-game difference of Phoenix then turning it around and going home for Game 7. So you can't figure out any of this. And that's the reason we play the games. So the heck with history.
In the final 2 minutes that I can tolerate you for today, are you worried about Team USA basketball winning gold in Tokyo? They lost their first 2 Olympic exhibition games. Nigeria, Australia came back to blow out Argentina. Is there a problem here with Team USA?
Yeah, there's a little problem because those are 2 games you really shouldn't have lost no matter what. Now, they'll get better, obviously, as they play together a little bit and as we get out of exhibition and it starts to really matter. So worried, no. I still think they're going to win the gold, but I have now a piqued interest in this, whereas I didn't before, and I'll watch some of these games for sure.
So you think maybe this was a setup? Let's draw a little more viewer interest. We'll play possum and get people to watch.
No, but that's the effect it's going to have on me. I think I'll stay interested in it probably longer than I would have otherwise. We know basketball around the world has gotten better over the years, and really ever since the Dream Team, basketball has become a global game. And these national teams, they present a challenge. Some of them present a challenge with the roster that they're able to put on the floor against the best players in America, but it shouldn't be that close. I mean, the best players for Team USA, really, there's just too many of them for them to really get a run the way they should, right? I mean, there's no way somebody should really challenge them. Now, the other factors that come into play make it possible. You've got guys who haven't played together. They just sort of come together for this thing quickly and try to get it done. That's maybe not the case with other national teams, but the talent alone should carry this Team USA.
I wish we would get like a Captain America moment where LeBron just parachutes into this thing to take control and straighten it out, take over from Durant or whoever the leader of this team is and say, I'm coming in. We are winning gold in Tokyo. Enough of you clowns who've lost 2 of these exhibition games. Come on, guys. Let's get this thing right. That I would love to see that happen.
I'd rather see some non-current guys, like the older guys. Like, put Vince Carter out there, give me Tracy McGrady, put Shaq out there, and see if we can put together a team of guys who could go out and win against the other national teams.
That would be fun. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate you taking the time out. You've been watching Honorado and Bagnardi.